Every drop, every taste on the tip of my tongue. Bend my nail, bite my thumb. Evidence won't clear my name. Baby, your presence will be the breath into the moment when I press my eyes shut. Now I'm ready. Perfect strength, 10,000 days on the days won't clear our names. Oh baby, it's our last kiss, will last forever. That's the moment when I rest my eyes shut. Now I'm ready.
Welcome to Two Goalies, One Mic, episode 143, presented by Fatty Beer Company and, of course, local apparel company Buffalo Logo. Fatty Beer, the place to go for any of your beverage needs. 7 different Western New York locations and Buffalo's premier market and tap room. Live events, live concerts, and of course they are dog and kid friendly. Joined by Josh Potter, former, was it 103.3 The Edge?
Yes, sir.
And now stand-up comedian out there in Los Angeles, is it?
Oh, yeah.
Out there,
way out here.
People from LA on the show.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I'm out here too.
Oh, no way. Okay, cool.
You got Connor. He actually works for TMZ.
Oh, nice.
Yes,
Yeah.
I do. So if
Have
you,
we met,
if you messed up,
have
I'll
we
find
met at
you.
the Comedy Store? Or was that somebody else from TMZ? Sorry.
Yeah, it probably wasn't me.
Anyways, making connections here. Anyway, Sabres face off just about a half hour away. Taking on for the first time this season the hated Toronto Maple Leafs. Sabres fresh off a embarrassing loss last night to the Philadelphia Flyers that saw them get outshot. What was it? No, I'm sorry. Saw them only have 35 total shots between both games against the Flyers, and a game there they could not depend on goaltending to bail them out. Hurls, you watched the game. Just your initial thoughts of last night, since you weren't on Howling Up and Listen. Your thoughts, and what do they need to get done tonight to beat the Leafs? With expecting Devin Levi to start in that.
Yeah, I watched on my phone. I didn't watch as much as I normally would, which I'm pretty happy about. You could tell pretty early on that it wasn't going to be a great night. I think a goal a minute into the game and then 2 goals within 3 minutes. When the Sabres start that way, we've talked about when they start slow, it's hard for them to catch up. I think teams know that they can go into that 1-2-2 and lock them up in the neutral zone. And it's really, really tough for them to come back from. I think they're 5-0 this season when they score first. Mm-hmm. So I think that's really, really important against a team like the Maple Leafs. Obviously, they're not going to be as defensively sound as a team like the Flyers or what we saw the Rangers or the Islanders do. But I think it's really important to score first, as it will be every single game for this team, but especially against a high-flying offensive group like the Leafs.
Yeah, I can't agree with you more. Obviously, Austin Matthews was off the hot start. So I think he had 2 hat tricks first 2 games of the season. I mean, Willie Nylander is out there doing Willie Nylander things. Goaltending is still an issue for them, as it always has been. But, I mean, I've been begging for this rivalry to be relevant again for the longest time. We saw shades of it even with Jack Eichel a few years ago. But I think we might be finally turning that corner where when the Leafs come to town, it's not like going to a Leafs home game, hopefully. Josh, I mean, you obviously were here in Buffalo as well during the heyday. Who did you do? It was some type of a camera thing with one of the players. I remember last time you were on the show, was it Nathan Gerby or something?
Oh, I did Nate Gerby helmet cam. That was just like a bit. But yeah, no, I remember I went to the year we went to the Cup, I went to the round against the Maple Leafs. My dad like got tickets the year we swept them. And it was like the greatest moment of my childhood. But it was still like a Maple Leafs. I mean, I can't believe how many Toronto people come down and take over the arena. It always bothered me. And I would imagine in the years that it's been pretty rough that has changed to like a unsurmountable amount of Maple Leafs fans. So like you said, I would like us to take over the arena a little bit better. It's been weird. I'm out here in LA watching. The crowd looks emptier than I think it should for this team. Like, you know, I guess 2 years ago or whatever, I would have been like, oh, I make sense or whatever. Tokarski's in goal. You know, we're not really trying, it seems. But now it's like, this is an exciting team.
Yep.
Why aren't there more asses in the seats? It's disturbing.
It is. And I think Bulldog kind of mentioned it in a tweet yesterday, and I brought this up on last night on the post game, is I think fans, for the most part, are still postured in a way where it's like, show me.
No, yeah, it's going to take a minute.
Here.
Just like when we first started being terrible at the beginning of the decade, like the 2010s, it was like it took a while for people to stop going almost. Do you know what I mean? Like they were still going despite the garbage product that they were putting out on the ice. And then it kind of like now it's going to take a minute for it to come back, you know, for nature to
correct. And I'm not necessarily consider myself in that as a fan like that or like show me. I'll go to games. I would love to have gone to last night's game, but unfortunately I couldn't. But I get it. Like the economy is in a situation where it's not so much easy to afford to go to a game. You see ticket prices. I mean, like even last night I was looking up just, you know, higher hunter level tickets, and they're like $120 a piece. It's nuts to me. Like,
yeah, it's crazy how they're still priced. I went to a couple games. Like every time I'm home, I try to go to as many as I can. I forget what it was, either last year or 2 years ago, where I went during like Thanksgiving time to like 2 or 3 games, and it felt like my own private Sabres game. It was crazy. Yeah. But at the same time, I mean, the tickets were still like pretty high priced, even though you could just buy whatever ticket you want and go sit pretty much wherever you want. I mean, I think at one point we just all congregated in like center ice down at the bottom by the glass. You know, it was so bizarre. It was like we could do whatever we want at a Sabres game. It was like more than it was like less people there than I remember for like the Destroyers games or something.
The Buffalo Destroyers. There's a first time reference here on Two Goalies, One Mike. The Buffalo.
I used to have seasons for my dad got season tickets for those.
Bring back indoor football, the Buffalo. I love it.
They were packed. It was like crazy. But yeah, it was kind of sad to see the Sabres games in that state. And then even just watching on TV the last couple of weeks. And even last night, I know a bunch of friends of mine took their kids to the game, and like some of their kids like first time going to a Sabres game, to the point where like I think after the first goal, a minute in, my buddy said his kid like stood up and cheered. He goes, "Nah, that's not us, buddy. That's not us." He didn't know what to cheer for quite yet. But yeah, I want the rivalry back. I mean, I hate the Flyers. The only team I hate more than the Flyers is the Maple Leafs, and so these like last couple of games have been on my radar big time.
Yeah, I know you mentioned you were gonna hop on with us yesterday, but like you said, you got the backstage passes to go.
Yeah, that was crazy.
But I can't blame you. I'm actually happy you went outside of the fact of the experience, but then you'd have to sit there and vent with me at 10:30 at night about a Sabres 5-1 loss to the Flyers.
5-1. Jesus. The Sabres are plus 135 tonight. And I
saw plus 185 actually.
Is that what I got it at? Let me see. Let me look again.
Because
I just took the bet.
The Leafs are minus 225. The over/under 7.
Yes, have that as well. I took the over just because I always do, because I'm a bad gambler and I love an over. I love the fun.
Yeah, way more fun to root for than the under.
Oh, you know what? I got him at plus 195. I
Yeah.
didn't even. That was craziness. Okay.
Feels a little high.
Did anyone take Devin Levi as anytime goal scorer last night?
That was weird.
Devin
That's how you
Levi.
take that, actually.
Like, that was so funny when that just came across my screen from the ESPN app. I'm like, I wonder if Devin knows he scored.
Yeah,
That's wild.
I did take Levi to get 28 saves tonight. I think the
Ooh.
Leafs are going to absolutely just fire the puck at him, especially early on. And I think it could be those types of situations can be good for a young goalie, especially coming off like a 2.5 week absence. Like, get in there early. We as goalies know that the first save is largely the toughest, and getting yourself into that game, especially against a team like the Leafs. So I think this could be really good for Levi. We talked about he's a Canadian kid, 21 years old, hockey night in Canada. We've talked about how he's a gamer, that he plays his best in the biggest moments. You saw him in the Beanpot last year. You've seen him in huge games over the years, especially with the Sabres at the end of the season. So, yeah, I think last night could have been good, but also last night, like, I don't necessarily think maybe 1 or 2, but I don't necessarily think it was primarily UPL's fault. He didn't play as well as he had to begin the year, of course, and there's still some things he needs to work on and some consistency that he needs to gather, but I wouldn't necessarily put that on him. So
Not at all.
I think they need to, Matthias Samuelsson being out tonight, he's on IR. Thankfully, it doesn't look super long-term. I think we're going to see Ryan Johnson, a rookie defender against a team like the Maple Leafs. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, I think this is the type of the game that Levi could get into really early and find a groove, which would be really good.
Be interesting to see where they slot Ryan into. Does he go down there with Ryan with Johnson connection on the third pairing? Do they put him up with Owen Power? Do they put him with Darlene? Like, I'm not sure. You know, if I know one of them, I can't remember which one was on the first pairing that can play both sides. But it'd be interesting to see where they slot him in, man, and what type of faith they show in him tonight. And Devin, fresh off an injury, hopefully I just expect him to pick up where he left off at the start of the season. He's playing definitely well enough to win, and being a Montreal kid, coming after 2 weeks of not playing, first game at Scotiabank Center against the Maple Leafs. That should be interesting. I expect the Levi chants to be very loud. No, Levi, you suck. Like we used to hear back.
The 100 level in Toronto, they're not real fans. It's all
corporate nonsense,
corporate and business people. So I don't put much credence or give them much respect whatsoever.
There won't be much chanting going on, I'd imagine. Not at least ones that we'll hear.
He is a Montreal kid.
Okay,
like try and get under his skin. But with that being said, just announced about a minute ago from Mike Harrington, Olofsson and Jost are both taking warmups. Byro is not. So I don't know about that. I thought Byro has played well his first 2 games.
2 goals out of the gate. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah. I think that, continuing with him, what might not have been a bad idea. He's like a nice young pair of legs in the lineup, kid that can skate. We all know what Jost brings. He's a good 200-foot hockey player. What he provides. Olofsson is just, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they hope tonight against the Leafs he really finally gets it going. I hope he does, because that power play is abysmal. Maybe that's where you get him going. I don't know. Like, just get him on the opposite side of Tage. And I know they had Tuck in that bumper spot yesterday, but I mean, you had the league's best penalty kill and possibly the league's worst power play unit on the same team. So it's very mind-boggling.
What's up with Rusek? Or is he still here? Is he still up, or they send him down too?
As far as I know, he's in the lineup tonight. The only change I saw was Bureau being out. Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I want to see some of these like young guys coming up here. I mean, I don't know. I'm like an idiot when it comes to like these like 2-way contracts. So I figured Byro was like on that 9-game thing, the same as Benson.
Yeah.
So it's like doesn't really hurt to call him up as opposed to like Kulich or like I want Savoy to come up real bad, but I know he's been dealing with an injury. So it's exciting to see those guys like pop in and out of the lineup a little bit. But man, the first line in Rochester is like looking so good.
Yeah, I'm excited. Sabres pipeline has never been so plentiful. Hurls,
Yes.
just your thoughts on what we should expect from Devin tonight. First game back. Do you think that I know you mentioned that you expect him to be on him pretty early. Do you think we see some shakiness, or do you think that he's ready for the task?
I personally don't. I think that they were very careful with this injury, especially after starting him the first 4 games of the season, which turns out probably not a good idea for a 21-year-old kid in his first full NHL season. So we don't know what the injury was, but I think they've given it enough time to the point that he is, without a shred of a doubt, 100% completely healthy. Maybe early on, like I said, like it's a really insane atmosphere to put him in Saturday night in Toronto against the Leafs, one of the best offensive teams in the league. But like we've said, like the kid's a gamer. Like he is built for these types of situations. And I think his mental fortitude and the way he carries himself, and even if he lets in an early goal, like I don't necessarily expect it to affect him because we've talked about how good he is at just moving to the next shot, to the next save. So yeah, I personally think he's going to start strong. It's the type of goal he is. He's proved it at every single level. And these are the types of games he played for the team down the stretch last season. So yeah, 28 saves. Like I think the Leafs are going to shoot the puck at will as much as they possibly can.
Also, not to interrupt, but also for Mike Harrington a few minutes ago, during the Ryan Johnson, he posted a picture of the Ryan Johnson solo lap for obviously a rookie debut, but no Dylan Cousins in warmups tonight.
Oh boy.
Ooh, well, he was in that scrap yesterday, and I wonder if he like took a punch or whatever.
Possibly. I don't know. That's wild because Don Granato was interviewed like an hour or two before the game, and he never mentioned anything about Cousins not playing. So that's surprising. That's a guy that you need to get going. He started off the season well, but he's been really kind of absent, I would say to a certain extent, the past few games. A guy you really want to get going, and he's like one of those guys that embraces that rivalry against Toronto. So you wonder, is this an injury thing or is this a shakeup thing? Because you see both outside of just Johnson, the only forward that come out of the lineup was Byro, and you get both Jost and Olofsson in warmups. So I wonder, I mean, no official announcement was made that they're playing tonight, but maybe I don't know. That's wild. If Cousins isn't playing tonight, that's a big blow to your lineup.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, he's like a grit guy. He's a glue guy. He's like, the hardest the player out there usually. I mean, that sucks. I mean, now I'm like nervous.
Yeah.
Do you think his year start, do you think like it got worse because of the line shakeups that Granato was doing? I know he like shuffled basically like tucked down to the third line. He had Greenway up at the top line for a minute. And do you think like Cousins' production was affected like as a byproduct of all that shakeup?
Yeah, I mean he's played with a bunch of different people so far this year, and I think he's at his best. Obviously, playing with Peterka and of course Quinn, who's not back yet. They really need him to come back.
Oh my god, that's my favorite line ever. But I mean, they could. I always thought they should put like Krebs up there with Quinn and Cousins, or with Peterka and Cousins. Now like Quinn's out, or like maybe get him going a little bit. But yeah, that's tough having Quinn out.
Can we talk about Krebs too, by the way? Because I saw, I saw some kind of back and forth on Twitter earlier today in regards to Krebs, and maybe he's been misused in this lineup. I'm personally sick and tired of seeing him on your fourth line. Like I've had enough of Peyton Krebs between Girgensons and Okposo. I just feel like he doesn't really have much of an opportunity. He's a playmaking center. He doesn't really have much of an opportunity. He's playing with guys that can't really keep up with him.
Like two anchors at his feet every time he's playing.
And I think that having him there with those two guys, at least last year, did him well in terms of finding more of a defensive steadiness and playing grittier, as we've seen, a guy who's not willing to get scrappy and mix it up a little bit. But I'm done with it. I'm done with it. I know it's tough to find somebody to slot take out a position in your top 9 to make room for Peyton Krebs, but he was part of the Eichel deal, man. Like, he was a first-round pick, and Kevin Adams fought to get him involved, get him included in that trade. Well, now you have to find a spot for him where he has an opportunity to succeed, and give him consistency in there, give him a chance to succeed. And it ain't going to happen with Kyle Okposo and Zemgus Girgensons. It's just not.
With Biro and Cousins being out, hopefully they move Krebs up there and put Olofsson down on the fourth line or whatever. But because I agree with you completely, I wanted him in Benson's spot. Really, I thought like Benson being so young, he could have something benefit him by being with Girgensons and with Okposo. Having like the leaders on his line or whatever. And they put Benson up with Greenway and Middlestat. I was like, that's how I think where Krebs should be personally.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen him make a lot, especially at the end of last year. Like, you saw his playmaking ceiling. You saw his ability to get into the corner and make really nice passes. I think him and Middlestat would even be great together. But, yeah, I mean, he's got to get going. I think a lot of guys got to get going. It seems like Tage Thompson has figured it out a little bit. Obviously, Alex Tuck had a horrible start to the year, and he's played a little bit better. It's been a little bit since Skinner scored. I think he needs to continue to serve that role for this team because at the end of the day, they're not scoring as much as they did last season. And the reason they were even close to the playoffs, the only reason they were close to the playoffs is because they scored so many goals. So if the offensive regression is there, I mean, the defense and the penalty kill has obviously been better, but this team needs to score goals. I know it sounds simplistic to say that, but at the end of the day, like, the defense isn't going to be, I personally don't believe the defense isn't going to be this good all season, especially when you lose Samuelson and obviously Clifton was out for a little bit. But yeah, they got to start scoring goals, and over under of 7 tonight. Tonight should be the night to do it.
Yeah, when JJ Paterka is your leading scorer, as cool as it is for JJ putting pucks in the net, it's a little concerning.
Yeah, I think Joseph Wall is playing tonight.
Out day to day per Elliot Friedman.
Who's Samuelson?
No, Dylan Cousins out day to day.
Damn.
So it is injury related.
That's tough. But yeah, Joseph Wall in net for the Leafs tonight. I think when he got called up last season, he was previously in the AHL. So you're not facing the best goalie tonight. I know Sabres have made certain goalies look better than they are, especially Ersson last night. But I think this is an opportunity for them to potentially have a 3, 4, 5 goal night.
Speaking of goalies, do you think, because you guys are goalie experts, do you think UPL, after he had that shutout against the Avalanche, people were still like kind of, shitting on him a little bit? You know what I mean? Like they were still like, that wasn't really him. He didn't really do that. Do you think that screwed up his brain a little bit, like going into the Flyers? And then, of course, like having a game like last night, now people are like, of course, this is what happens. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like people are riding him too hard.
For me, with UPL, and I wouldn't call myself a UPL defender because I always took him at face value for what he is. I think he's an average NHL goalie. I don't think he's anything really more than that. But definitely good enough to win. Like you see goalie. I mean, I think I'm not going to say he's like in like the league of like say a Corey Crawford who's won multiple cups with Chicago, but because I think UPL is much more athletic. But like he's definitely a guy that if you play the right way in front of him, he's good enough to win. He would be an excellent 1B to a 1A. But his issue, and we've talked about on this show, is consistency and being consistent. And to Hurls' point earlier, I mentioned it last night. I said, I don't put that game on UPL last night. I don't. Like, I mean, the team played like hot garbage. They really did. You put yourself in a 2-0 hole in the first 2.5 minutes of the game, and that's with the way they were skating. And I even saw it. Hurls. I don't know if you saw the replay of the one goal, but like 30 seconds before that, Owen Power was skating back into the zone. I noticed it live on broadcast. I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me! Like he had 3 steps on the forechecker and still lost the race to the puck. And 30 seconds later, after a tuck giveaway, it's in your net. Less than that, actually. It's just like, the effort just wasn't there. It was not there. Even Razor was like laughing during the broadcast. He's like, oh my God, like you're a first overall pick. How do you lose that? How do you lose that race to the puck? Like that's just laziness. That's you getting outworked. And they were outworked last night. Casey Middlestat had a lot of strong words for it. Kyle Okposo did. But I mean, and I'm not going to say Kyle Okposo wasn't working hard out there, but he's just slow. And the whole rest of the team, except for Tage Thompson, just didn't look like they wanted to be out there last night.
Yeah.
Speaking of Middlestat, I mean, how about that guy? Everyone wanted him shipped out a couple of years ago. He's been, I mean, last year we saw the assists rise up toward the end of the season. This year he's already coming on strong. He's like one of my favorites now.
I think he has 40 points in his last 42 games.
Crazy.
He's obviously, he's much stronger. He's better in the corners. He's, of course, a really good playmaker. But we talked about the other night, like he needs to shoot more. He has an above-average shot, and I think he has a considerable amount of skill to the point where he can score these really, really nice.
You think he looks to pass too often?
I think he does. Yeah, and I think that's been
he needs to become a shooter.
His biggest thing. Not necessarily as much as like Tage Thompson, but like 2 to 3 shots a game should be the standard for him. I think that when he does shoot, his shooting percentage is pretty high when he actually does take his opportunities to score goals. But back to EPL, I think the ire of this fan base is going to be on him and the team as a whole until there is consistency. Obviously, winning solves everything. But at the end of the day, with him, he'll have 2-3 good games, and then he'll have a below-average one right after that. So, yeah, anytime, like even like you said, even in a shutout or even in a win, like the other night where they got outshot 40-15, and he was the only reason the Sabres won the game. He's gonna take a lot of ire from the fan base.
I'm sorry. I'm looking at the line rushes during warm-ups. Skinner, Thompson, Tuck back together again, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
Olsen on the wing with Paterka, Middlestat in the middle. Greenway, Jost, and Rusek. Gergensons, Krebs, Okposo. Dahlin with Yoki Haru. Great. Fantastic. I hate that. I hate all of that. Power and Clifton and Johnson and Johnson.
Love the Johnson and Johnson line.
A family company.
Yeah.
Johnson and Johnson. Johnson and Johnson.
I think the Cousins injury puts a wrench into all of that, especially in the middle six. And hopefully that one of the best lines in the NHL last season, Tage, Tuck, and Skinner, they can actually get that chemistry back.
What was the bottom six again?
Oh, it's the bottom six is Jost Greenway, and
Rusek, right?
Rusek. And then the fourth line, Krebs in between Gergensons and Okposo. Like, what does Krebs got to do?
No, I mean, that's kind of.
What does he got to do to get off that?
Put Jost down there. Put Jost. That's perfect. Jost, Okposo, Gergensons. Looks like
I'm just so sick of it. Like, I just like the guy skates his balls off. I'm not saying that he cares more than others, but like, just get him off that line. He's not going to do anything for you down there.
And people are going to just keep crapping on him because he's, not doing anything. But if he's on the line with Okposo and Gergensons, it makes it really hard. He seems like he's the only guy doing something out there. And he does hook up enough with Okposo to give him some goals every now and then. I didn't notice that in the beginning of the season, at least.
Well, on that note, shall we? 3 minutes till puck drop.
Oh, sure.
This is going to be a fun one.
Any score predictions? I'll start with you, Josh.
I'm hoping the Sabres win 8-0 so that the over hits and we shut them out. Devin Levi, big game return.
I'm going to go Sabres 5-3 with an empty netter, 34 saves for Devin Levi.
Wow.
And
I like that score prediction, actually.
5-3, and I think Tuck scores. I think Dahlin scores. And that top line actually gets going because we absolutely need them to.
I agree. I like that 5-3 prediction. I'll go with that. I think Levi has a fantastic 30-plus save game. I'll go Tage. I go Ryan Johnson in his NHL debut getting a goal tonight. Some wonky deflection in front. I'm going to go Olofsson with his first of the season.
Love that. I was thinking that too.
I did bet Casey Middlestat on anytime goal score, so I got to throw that in the ring.
Love it. Middlestat mode. Let's do it. All right, go Sabres.
Yep, guys. Remember, this has been brought to you by Fatty Beer Company, the premier tap room, Mall of Buffalo, 7 different Western New York locations, pet and dog friendly, and of course, let them know that the boys from Two Goalies, One Mic sent you. They'll take care of you. And during Sabres home games, make sure you get down there. They have a great 2-for-1 special on all Mug Club members at any location at their downtown location at 5 Genesee Street. For Hurls, and of course, our special guest, Josh Potter. This has been episode 143 of Two Goalies, One Mic. We will see you on the post game, and you guys have a great, great night. Let's go, Sabres.
We saw the ups, but we felt the down. Streets are boarded up in this border town. All the small secret landmarks.